study, you know, where we show that there's decreased pressure in those joints, direct measures of that, I'm still not convinced that barefoot running is the correct way of doing it. So I think it's a good training tool. I think if you wanted to try to change some things and look at maybe, you know, more forefoot, midfoot strike, that's reasonable. But I will not give up my regular sneakers, you know, to go into a Nike Free or a Vibram Five Fingers. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, you know, I'm a little bit older than Mark, and actually started running way back in high school. And so in the 70s, all shoes were minimalist shoes. And one of the reasons that the shoe companies really changed to more protective footwear, more shock-absorbing footwear, was because of the preponderance of injuries as a result of these, you know, really unprotected minimalist shoes. And so, you know, the shoe industry has really gone through a change. They've gone through, you know, these sort of flat, non-absorbing, shock-absorbing shoes to fairly bulky, super shock-absorbing shoes. Now we're back to lowering heels and minimalizing our footwear. And so I think the key here is it's not so much what you put on your feet that's important. It's really your running mechanics and whether you've got an efficient running style or a non-efficient running style, whether you are a pounder or someone who is very, very light. There are certain shoes that will feel better and are more protective and are really designed to sort of fit with your foot type. I'd be very careful about switching into shoes that are less protective. And if you decide you do want to do that, a transition period is absolutely critical. You've got to walk in the shoes before you run in them. And you've got to walk in them and get used to the feel of the shoe for a number of months before you really start to put some miles on the shoe athletically. I'm one of those people who I was for 15 or 16 years in Nike Air Maxes, which are super protective shoes, and I happen to run in a New Balance minimalist road shoe right now. And I love it. I love running in the shoe. But it took me about 6 months of walking around in the shoe before I decided that it was the footwear that would be comfortable for me. And I did change my running style a little bit. I'm a little bit lighter in terms of my strike. I'm still a heel striker, but you know, I've lifted my knees higher. I place my feet in more of a foot flat position as opposed to coming down on the heel. So just be wary of switching footwear. If you've been in a shoe that has worked for you, stick with the shoe. If the whole movement is of interest to you, you know, buy one that is comfortable. Go first with the shoes that have gone from sort of a 12-millimeter heel lift to a 4-millimeter heel lift and walk around with them. We're just seeing so many calf injuries, plantar fascial injuries, stress fractures of the foot and lower leg with our athletes that have switched into Newtons, into Vibram Five Fingers, and into Nike Frees.
Yeah, Joe, I think those are great points. I think, you know, the take-home messages are, you know, the transition should be slow, you know, with something like that, because that really is the danger period of when we see injuries occur.
I have one question here. Can you describe overhydration symptoms?
You know, overhydration symptoms, I mean, that's, to be really overhydrated, again, you know, we start to delve into the medical world of when people become hyponatremic and that's low salt because you've now diluted yourself. It really takes an awful lot of drinking of water to put yourself into that precarious position. It does occur. We thankfully have not seen that at the New York City Tri. But again, it's a very large consumption of water, and it usually affects more of a mental status issue. People become obtunded where they, they don't know where they are, dizzy, a variety of those kind of neurologic symptoms. I don't know if I would necessarily get very concerned about that. I think just, gauging your water intake, which is done through practice, is important. But it's a rare scenario to be too overhydrated. I mean, obviously you'll feel bloated. I mean, I think more importantly is the syndrome in which, you try and you're running or you're biking and you're taking in, 10 goos and Gatorade, and now suddenly, you're incredibly bloated. We see that much more commonly because now you've put so much sugar into your belly that the gastric emptying slows down, and now you've got basically a stopped-up drain. And as you continue to put stuff inside, next thing you know, that person is vomiting on the side of the road. That's where I would see that occurring more. Usually the solution to that is, obviously, temporize your glucose or sugar intake, drink sips of water, and you lower your intensity, and that's probably a better solution than just drinking massive amounts of water to dilute it out. So hopefully that answered your question, but hyponatremia or overhydration is a very rare scenario.
So just want to wrap it up. There have been, I know you've already touched upon some IT band issues, Dr. Klion, but I've gotten quite a few questions about it even after you addressed it. So I'm just going to read some questions that I received about the IT band. I heard the other day that sitting in a chair all day can lead to a tight IT band. I've been caring for a tight IT band for years now with physical therapy exercises and roller. I had no idea sitting might aggravate my IT band issues. Now I'm wondering, is it bad to go running after sitting for long hours at a time? And then also, my IT band issue seems to have started as I started training with my bike. Any recommendations?
Well, in fairness to everybody else, I'm not going to go through kind of the complete explanation. If you can, at some point in time, just check back at I think it was the first question that was asked. But I will say that, in maintaining a sedentary position, tissues have a tendency to tighten, especially inflamed tissues. So sitting for a long period of time could certainly aggravate that without a doubt. Number two is in terms of should you start running after you've been sitting for a long period of time? Obviously, we ascribe to having a dynamic warm-up. So, you shouldn't just be getting out of your chair and just, blazing and slap on those sneakers and go run 5 miles. There should be a period of time that maybe you start walking, maybe do some bounding exercises, some easy jogging, and warm yourself up for 10 or 15 minutes before you actually go running, and hopefully that will alleviate it. In terms of the bike, that's about bike fit, and usually it occurs because sometimes the bike seat is too high, sometimes the pedal placement is incorrect, and sometimes the shoe fit is incorrect. So I think that if you look at those points and you actually have someone fit you on your bike, that might take away the symptoms of the IT band. But I will tell you that I have seen people who have IT band friction syndrome that are bad enough that it hurts while running, but it also hurts while biking. But again, I'll tell you that I think the bike fit is essential in that scenario.
Great, and I just want to wrap this up with we actually received a comment, and I just wanted to read it out loud. One of our attendees here attended this session in New York City last year, and it helped him mentally prepare more than he would have if he had not attended. So, and I just wanted to point out, I know Dr. Klion mentioned this in the beginning of our session, but for any latecomers, we're going to be also having another webinar like this in the next couple of weeks, we hope on Wednesday, June 20th. And then we are actually hosting a symposium, a live symposium in New York City at KIMA Physical Therapy Center. That's KIMA. And we will be sending information to all of our New York City Triathlon athletes about this seminar that's going to be coming up.
Great. Allie, I want to thank you for getting this organized. I want to thank everybody who attended, and I want to send out a good thanks to Joe Geldwert, who is my co-medical director for the race. And hopefully you guys won't be injured if you attend the next webinar, but if you are, we'll hopefully try and answer some of those questions for you. And I hope you all train safe and train smart, and we look forward to you being at the race on July 8th.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.